Hello guys, CA Karthik here. I have in front of me CA Inter paper number 2, Corporate and Other Laws, September 2024 question paper. So let's review the question paper, right? Without wasting any time, let's start reviewing the MCQs first. Yes, part 1 is about MCQs and the first case scenario. This question is on deposits concept, right? Chapter number 5, deposits. Let's see the question. ABC Publications Limited accepted deposits from the public to the tune of 70 lakhs on May 2021. For how many months? 36 months. That is your 3 years at an interest rate of 10% per annum. The repayment would be made on 30th April 2024. So from 1st May to 30th April 2024, it has complied with all the statutory requirements for the acceptance of deposits by a public limited company. One of the deposits, Mr. Y, who was in urgent need of money as his son wanted to pursue higher education, his total deposit was how much? 10 lakhs. He, on 1st June 2022, he sent his request to the company asking for premature repayment of his deposit along with its interest. Right now, in deposits chapter, we have seen, and the provision says, if there is a premature deposit, repayment or prepayment of deposit, what is the provision? 1% of the interest you have to reduce, right? And if there is a 6 months part in the tenure, less than 6 months you have to ignore, more than 6 months you have to consider as 1 year, right? So another depositor, Mr. U, had deposited how much? 6 lakh in his name. On 18th September 2022, he sent an application to change the name on his deposit and make it a joint holding in the names of himself, wife and 2 children. So there is 4 people now, right? The company is contemplating the request received from its depositor, right? In addition to that, deposits received from the public, the company had also raised funds by amount received from a public sector bank by issue of bonds and debentures and amount against issue of commercial papers which were issued according to the guidelines of RBI. Okay. On the basis of the given facts and by applying the applicable provisions and the rules thereon, choose the correct answer. Let's see. First question, advice with regards to the amount and interest. See, they have given 4 options here. The company cannot make premature payment. Now, this is false. The company can make premature deposit repayment of deposits. Second option, the company can prematurely repay the deposit along with the interest for the rate at the rate of 10% for 13 months. 10% you cannot make because 1% you have to reduce. So we are left with option C and option D. The company can prematurely repay the deposit along with interest at 9% for 13 months. 13 months you cannot because you have to ignore anything for less than 2 months. So from 1st May 21 to 31st March 2022 only is what we have to consider, and that is your option number D. So at 9% for 11 months is your answer. Second is advice with respect to joint shareholding. We know only 3. So ultimately it is Mr. U and any 2 members. Now he can choose any 2 members, right? It could be one wife and his 1 kid, or both the kids only he can choose. It's his choice. Third one, the banker of ABC Publications Limited wanted a list of deposits accepted by the company. Advise the company on what among the following constitute a deposit. It is about the negative list. Negative list act is not telling. In the class, we have discussed that there are certain negative list items that we have to know, right? So they are saying advise the company on what among the following constitute the deposit. Which is a deposit? See, amount raised through bonds and debentures is not a deposit. Non-interest bearing amount received and held interest, not a deposit. Receipt from public is a deposit. Amount raised through issue of commercial paper as per RBI guidelines is not a deposit. Very easy question. So answer is C. Yeah, right. That's your case scenario number 1. Case scenario number 2. It's a foreign company concept question. What happened? Combat Gaming Limited is a company incorporated outside India with a place of business in Rajasthan. To improve its gaming software, the company wanted to apply artificial intelligence technology, right? And in order to raise more funds to meet out the investment cost, company decided to issue shares. It issued prospectus of the company which was properly dated and signed according to the provisions of Companies Act delivered it to ROC on when 16/8/2023. The registrar on verification of the documents found that the particulars in the prospectus was complete and issued a notice to the company saying that prospectus is invalid. All right. Hence, the directors scrutinized the documents, and during the scrutiny it was observed that CFO there was a mistake in one of the documents delivered to the registrar and hence altered on 29 September. Logic is very simple here. Whenever you alter any documents, you have to submit the altered documents also to ROC. Now the question is when, right? Now, in foreign company, we have seen you have to deliver certain documents to the registrar. But which registrar? We all know that registrar is applicable for the state-wise. Whereas in case of foreign company, ROC New Delhi is the applicable registrar for us. Now, what is the question? According to the company's rules, which of the following documents shall not be annexed? When you are submitting certain documents, you have to annex. Annex means attach certain documents. They are telling which of the following is not supposed to be attached. Right? Consent letter of the expert, yes, we have to attach. Clear? Preliminary expenses, we don't have to attach. Copy of contracts for appointment of MD, manager, or in case of a contract not reduced into writing, memorandum giving full particulars, you have to attach. Underwriting agreement, you have to attach. So here the answer is B, preliminary expenses statement, you need not attach. Right. Fifth one, Combat Gaming Limited has made alteration in documents delivered to the registrar. They shall intimate to registrar of companies by when? We all know that it is 30 days, but specifically they have not told about prospectus. But here documents delivered to the registrar is what we are seeing. So section number 380 says if you have made any alteration within 30 days from the date of alteration, you are supposed to make the respective rules. Right? So 30 days from alteration date. What is alteration date? 29th September. 30 days from there is 29th October. So option A is the answer. Sixth one, Combat Gaming Limited has to deliver the required documents along with the appropriate fees to which ROC? Just now I told for foreign company ROC New Delhi is applicable. So option number C is the right answer. Third case scenario is about LLP. Mr. S, a well-experienced technocrat in the field of manufacturing of computer hard disks, etc. He resigned from his job and started LLP. All these story they have told, right? What is the story? Mr. S and his three friends, A, B and C, they started LLP, right? All three friends are, Mr. S wanted to ensure whether all three friends are resident of India or no. Mr. A has stayed for how many days? 170 days. Mr. B has stayed for how many days? 110 days. And Mr. C has stayed for how many days? 100 days. In LLP provision, we all know that 120 days is the applicability for residential status calculation. And here 120 days is only complied by Mr. A. B and C has not complied with 120 days. Therefore, minimum 2 people should be designated partners and they should be resident. Right? All partners had given their consent to act as designated partners. He applied for the reservation of name also and paid the prescribed fees. What is the question? The name applied has been approved by the registrar. The approved name shall be valid for a period of dash days. It is 3 months. In Companies Act it is different. It is 20 and 60 respectively. Right? In Companies Act we have seen. Right? In LLP it is 3 months. Easy question. Right? Which of the following combinations of partners, if appointed as designated partners, will not be in accordance with the provisions? Mr. B and C, since these are not residents. So option will be B. Ninth one. In how many days LLP shall file with registrar the particulars of every individual who has given his consent within 30 days of his appointment? Section number 7 subsection 4 clearly says within 30 days of his appointment, not 30 days of incorporation of LLP. This is biscuit option. Clear? This is an option where people might fall into that trap. So 30 days of his appointment. Right? Fourth case scenario is FEMA. Progressive Management College have introduced a global management diploma course which is of 12 months duration. Out of 12 months, 11 months studies are held in India and rest 1 month is earmarked for foreign tour. Rudra Pratap is the principal of the college. After taking permission from the competent ministry, cultural tool program was chalked out and team visited Malaysia, Singapore. Simply a story created. Okay, now what do you want, sir? Rudra Pratap's daughter Payal got admission in medical college, and for fee and other expenses, Payal needs USD 2,25,000. Rudra Pratap contacted his banker to know the procedure for availing the foreign exchange. See, LRS limit can be applicable here. See, from LRS $2,50,000 you can withdraw. But three specified purposes, right? Immigration, medical treatment, education. For these three things, if LRS limit need not be applicable. Whatever is the actual fees, right, or actual expenses, you can claim that itself, right? So here 2,25,000 you can take it, right? LRS is not applicable. Then Rudra Pratap's brother Saurya Pratap went to UK some years ago, where he joined a company in managerial position. He intermittently visits to India and maintains NRSR account, non-resident special rupee scheme account in Mumbai. He wanted to make remittance of interest earned in NRSR account and asked his bankers for the required formalities. See, current account transaction schedule number 1, last transaction, NRSR, interest earned from NRSR is prohibited, not allowed, right? So you cannot do it. Let's see the questions. For cultural tour purposes, which ministry is required to approval is obtained? Again, schedule 2, current account, cultural tool, first transaction, Ministry of Human Resource Development, HRD. Right? For availing foreign exchange studying abroad, which of the following option is correct? Transaction of withdrawal of foreign exchange of USD 225 for studying abroad do not require prior approval of RBI, because here you can take the actual fees amount, right, and you can go ahead with your education. You don't have to take prior approval. LRS also is not applicable. I mean, you can choose, to keep LRS separately. 12th one. Remittance of foreign exchange for arranging cultural tours is an example of what? It's a current account transaction. This question I have written clearly it as a free hit, because if you remember it here itself, right? If you remember, this is from current account transaction. This is a free question given for you. It's like 2 marks given just like that, right? 13th one. Super Brain Coaching Limited was engaged in offline coaching of students for various competitive exams. Okay, one of the pioneers in its field. It suffered losses due to various social and government restrictions imposed. Defaulted the repayment of term loan for the first 2 quarters of the financial year 23-24. Right, on 31 December 2023, cleared all the dues and regularized the term loan. Now what they want to know, they want to issue equity shares with differential rights. Section number 43 of Companies Act 2013. What is the answer? Provision says if you have made the default, you can issue the shares after correcting the default. But when 5 years from the end of the financial year, right? Now default made in which year? Financial year 23-24. Default is rectified in the which year? Same year, financial year 23-24. But 5 years from where we will count? Should we count from the date of rectification or from the end of the financial year in which the rectification is done, right? So the answer is 5 years from the year in which rectification is done, and year is financial year 23-24. 5 years from the end of financial year will be on or after 1st April 2029. So this is the answer, right? 14th one. This is General Clauses Act question. An act has been passed by the government, and though sufficient time has lapsed since act was passed, it has not been brought into the force by the government. Which of the following is the right answer? See, this particular thing is related to section number 5 of General Clauses Act, which talks about commencement, right? There's a case law mentioned in the institute module, right? Altemis Rain versus UI 1988 case law. There it's clearly mentioned the court can through a writ direct the government to consider the question as to when the act should begin to operate. Clear? Easy question, not a difficult question. 15th one. With reference to the provision of GCA, in all legislations and regulations, unless there is anything repugnant in the subject or the context, words importing the masculine gender shall be taken to include females. Male includes females. This so many times we have discussed in the class. Clear? Section number 13 GCA. Right? So this is your multiple choice question section, and my honest opinion about MCQ is it's a very good part, but I feel a student can score on high 20s when it comes to MCQ. Clear? 25 plus is a very good score, right? So MCQs was easy. It was not that difficult as some of the students may feel. It's not difficult, it's easy, right? Right. Let's move on to the descriptive part of the paper, right? Part number 2. First question. Sub Health Products issued equity shares worth 5 crores, right? 5 lakh equity shares of 100 each, and it was fully subscribed, partly paid at 50 each. This is a purely calls in advance concept. 49, 50 and 51 combined one question they have made. Very good question. The company made a call to all its subscribers to pay a sum of 30 for each share held by them. Mr. GH, subscriber to the shares of a company holding 10,000 shares, paid all the money due on the shares held by him in advance. He is claiming interest on the money advanced by him and also dividend. See, section 50 clearly says interest is allowed, but dividend is not allowed, right? In respect of the advance money, is his claim justified? No. He can get interest, but not dividend. Another shareholder, Mr. LK, holding 15,000 shares, did not pay the first call. So the directors called upon him to pay the entire amount due by him in respect of the shares held by him. You cannot call, you have to make uniform calls. Section number 49. Clear? 51 says what? We can pay dividend on what? Paid up capital, provided your articles of association permits, right? Referring to the provisions of the Companies Act, rules made there, examine whether they are permitted to do so. Answer is given. Interest is allowed, dividend is not allowed. Next, Messrs. Wright Trading Limited is a company engaged in trading of automobile spare parts. During the current financial year 24-25, Mr. J, the CFO, retired due to bad health. The company appointed Mr. C as a new CFO. Verification of the financial statements and statutory returns. Mr. C advised the board of Messrs. Wright Trading Limited to revise the financial statements for the year 21-22. Section 131. 21-22, 22-23, 23-24. Clear? So it is voluntary revision. Absolutely okay, because 3 years is a time limit. That's your question number B. Next. Messrs. DEF is conducting the audit of Messrs. Wright Trading Limited for the past 9 years. Now, due to the requirement of rotation of auditors, Mrs. DEF is going to retire at the upcoming AGM, and in its place, Mrs. XYZ will be appointed as an auditor of Messrs. Wright Trading Limited. One of the partner, Mr. F, who was in charge of certification, retired from the firm DEF and joined XYZ. Allowed, not allowed. This is a purely common partner concept from rotation of auditors, section number 139 subsection 2. Right. Next. Miss Rose was an Indian citizen who got a job in a software company, PROI, got a job in the USA. She went to USA and stayed there for 12 years. During her stay, she purchased a house in USA for her residence. Okay. Then, due to some personal issues, she moved back to India and joined a software company in India. As she had moved back to India, she let out her house in USA and deposited the rent in her account in USA. Out of the amount, she purchased another house in USA. Based on that, answer this: whether Miss Rose can purchase a house in USA and continue to retain it even after returning to India? Yes, because this was acquired when she was PROI and it will be allowed after she returns to India. Whether she can purchase another house in USA after returning to India? Yes, but it should be from the same money which she had earned outside, and she has to follow RBI regulations. That's your second answer. Next. Stuti Ceramic Private Limited manufactures crockery items which are predominantly used only by the domestic household customers. Now the company wants to expand its area of operation, etc. What they want for this, for this expansion plan, the company needs funds of around 500 lakhs. Okay. Now they are telling the company explored the other avenue of raising funds by issue of rights shares to the existing shareholders. However, only 100 lakh could be generated. The banks and financial institutions are also reluctant to increase their exposure, meaning they are not giving loan. Referring to the provisions, advise whether they can raise through private placement. Yes, of course, private placement, whether it is a private company or a public company, it is allowed. Amount limit is not there. Members limit is there, maximum 200 members, and they have to allow it within 60 days. If they don't allow it within 60 days, they have to refund within the next 15 days. If they still don't refund within the next 15 days, interest at the rate of 12% from expiry of 60th day. That means from 61st day it will be applicable. Right? That's your question. Next, Dolls Toys Limited is having a net worth of 310 crores, paid up share capital 200, free reserves and securities premium 110. Okay. Turnover 300. Wants to accept deposit from public. Section 76 eligible company. Turnover, net worth. Clear? Net worth is more than 300 crores. right? Turnover is also 300 crores allowed. Clear? Then what they want? It is further mentioned that Doll Toys Limited is in urgent need of funds as one of its contract is on the verge of completion and it is promising to repay the deposits within a period of 4 months. Is Doll Toys Limited permitted to accept the deposits within repayment of 4 months? Yes, short term. General rule, this we have discussed in the class. General rule, what? 6 months to 36 months. But there is one short term you can take, but it should not be less than 3 months, more than or equal to 3 months, and it should not exceed 10% of PUC, FR and SPA. So here if you see PUC, FR and SPA, that is 310, 10% is 31 crores. Yes, that's it. That's your second question. Right, this is section 5 of GCA, right? Whenever a new law is enacted by Government of India, what shall be its date of coming into force? Whenever President sign that date. Whenever a new law is enacted to replace the existing law, it repeals the old enactment. Effect of repeal, section 6. Directly copy paste. Very easy question. Third one. The paid up capital of Star Furnishing Limited is 1 crore divided into 10 lakhs of 10 each. Out of this, Home Decor Limited is holding 6 lakh. And remaining equity shares 4 lakh is held by others outside. Okay, minority interest. Simultaneously, Star Furnishing Limited is holding how much? 7%, out of which 2% is held as legal representative of deceased member. On the basis of the given information, section 19, so many times we have discussed, and the depth of this section that we have discussed in the class, we have combined this section with our holding and subsidiary company definition. Both together we have discussed this. Clear? What is the question? Can Star Furnishing Limited make further investment in equity shares? No. After establishing the relationship of holding and subsidiary, not allowed. Can Star Furnishing Limited exercise voting rights at the annual general meeting? Voting rights with respect to legal representative allowed, but in its own way of shareholding not allowed. Clear? So here this 2% as legal representative allowed, 5% not allowed. Easy question. Next. Naveen Tools Limited mortgages factory, land and building, right? This is on charge on 1st March 2023. So when did it mortgage it? On 1st March 2023. So charge was created on which date? 1st March 2023. Section 77 says within 30 days of creation of charge, you're supposed to register it. Clear? Okay. To Goodwill Bank and avail the credit limit of 200 lakhs. Although it was sanctioned, the company, that is NTL, actually availed such a facility only in the month of August 2023. Does it matter to us? No. When did the charge get created? On 1st March. So from there 30 days applicable. Right? During the course of stat audit, the auditor pointed out before the management that about the non-compliance. The company informed that although the mortgage-backed rate limit was sanctioned in March, it had not availed any facility till the month of August. Doesn't matter, from March till it is applicable. So the liability of registration arises from the date of availment only. Wrong. Further, the company management pleaded that it is the responsibility of the financier, that is Goodwill Bank, to get the charges registered with the registrar since the registration is to be effected. Sir, whose responsibility? The one. In this case, it is the company's responsibility. Clear? But under section 78, there is one more provision where the charge holder can go and get the charge registered with the ROC and reimbursement can be done. Right? So here, what is the point here? What is the trigger point for registration of charge? At the time of credit limit sanction or when it was check was issued? Section 77, charge was created in the month of March. Then what are the consequences of non-registration? Directly section number 86. Sorry. You can write. Next, explain the rule. Suggest that the plain word requires no explanation. Technical words to be understood in technical sense. Rule of literal construction, 4 marks. Clear? I told you in the class, primary rules, secondary rules, you have to be very, very thorough with. Right? Next, XYZ Limited is a company having PUC of 75 crores. It was performing well in the recent years. Okay, no, suffered losses in the first and second quarter. They want to give interim dividend here, right? So we have all known that we have solved theoretical problems as well. We have discussed a lot in the class as well that if there is any loss, right? If there is any loss, then you can give, provided you have to take 3 years average. Now here, this is a trap. Starts with 2019 year and ends at 2023. So you have to take this way, 23, 22, 21. Clear? So maximum how much you can give? This much. Next. Mr. Strong Steel Limited Limited Liability Partnership was incorporated on 1/4/2010 with 10 partners. Very good business they had. Okay. So they did not file its annual return from 2021, 2021, 21, 22, 22, 23, 23, 24. 4 years. Okay. 4 years they have not filed. 3 partners decided to be that the LLP would be wound up by the tribunal. The remaining partners objected to it. All right. Referring to the section 64, can tribunal pass the order? 5 years you have to make default. Here only 4 years default has been made. Now in 24, 25 also if they make default, then yes. What is the purpose of inclusion of definitions of certain words and expressions in the body of any statutes? Definition sometimes includes the word mean. Mean means exhaustive. Include means inclusive. Means and includes means exhaustive. To apply and to apply to and include means what? Inclusive. Direct theory question. Nothing much to discuss here. Fifth one. Sanjana joined a company named as Designer Cloths I Limited as an independent director. In order to know more about the company, she wanted to inspect the books of accounts and minutes book. Section number 128, chapter number 9. Board meeting held during the previous 3 years. Okay. The company is keeping the books at its registered office, which is at Mumbai, where Sanjana resides in Kolkata. So registered office is in Mumbai and she resides in Kolkata. Therefore, through power of attorney, Sanjana authorized her friend Avantika, who is chartered accountant and does practice in Mumbai, to make an inspection of the books of accounts and minutes of the board. What is the provision here? Provision says, see, if the information is maintained outside India, to seek the information, the director only should do. But once the information is sought for inspection purpose, you can appoint your agent. Clear? So in this case, for inspection purpose, you can appoint your agent, but seeking purpose, you only have to ask. Next, here. A, B, C, D are partners of Alpha LLP and have equal share in profits and losses of LLP. A has made an agreement to transfer 70% of his share in the profits of Alpha LLP to his daughter X. So transfer is allowed. Now X wanted to access information about the trading transaction, claiming that he is entitled to the information as he received percentage of profit. See, this is like the partnership feature in LLP that we have discussed. Transferee does not have the right to interfere in the business. Definitely transferee can be there in the LLP, but it doesn't mean the partner has disassociated and transferee has a right to interfere. Not allowed. Okay. Next, in a contract of sale, now Mr. A fraudulently sold certain unmarketable goods to B. Mr. A is liable for fraudulent activity under both Indian Contract Act as well as Sale of Goods Act. Should be punished in both? No, any one. Mr. P bought a car from Mr. G, who was his friend. Mr. P did not check the car or test drive it. Whether the purchase made could be said to be made in good faith. Explain with reference to GCA. In GCA, yes, he has made in good faith, but in Indian Contract Act, obviously, he should have exercised an ordinary prudence. As a man of ordinary prudence, what activities you would have done, what questions you would have asked, you should have done that. So we are not talking about Indian Contract Act. They have clearly said, explain with reference to the General Clauses Act. Yes. Next, this is about EGM, right? Silk Textile Limited is a company which is incorporated in India. It holds 2 subsidiaries, Print and Stitch, right? And these are incorporated, wholly subsidiary incorporated outside India. So holding companies in India, WOS is in outside India. We had seen in section number 100 that with respect to a wholly subsidiary in India, right, of a company outside India, if they have to hold EGM, they need not hold it in India. General rule, EGM should be held anywhere in India. Exception, if Indian subsidiary is a wholly owned subsidiary of a company which is outside India, that company, holding company's EGM need not be held in India. It can be held outside India. But here it is the ulta case, the vice versa case. Okay. So in this case, whether the board of Silk Textile Limited can hold its EGM at Dubai? No. Why? Silk Textile Limited is a company incorporated in India. So holding company is here. Second, EGM of Print Limited can be held in Dubai. Print Limited is a subsidiary company. Their EGM they can hold in Dubai, no problem. Clear? Right. Next, here you have an option, either that question or this question, right? Both are about the same concept from section 100 only. Creative Textiles Limited is an unlisted public company. The paid up capital is 50 lakhs consisting of 5 lakh and Raman is having 50,000 shares. 50,000 is 10% of 5 lakhs, right? That means here also he is holding 5 lakh rupees. He is not happy with Somnath, who is the director. He wants to remove Somnath from the directorship. No problem. You are a requisitionist. If you want to do that, you have to hold either 10% of the shares or 5 lakh in value. Here both are satisfying. So you can. right? If company does not call for the meeting, can Raman call on his own? Yes. Remember, 45 days, 3 months time limit? Yes. Beauty Cosmetics is a company incorporated in Korea, has established its branch office in Chennai for conducting its business in India. The structure of paid up share capital is as below. Equity share held by an Indian citizen 10%, again Indian citizen 20%, right? Indian company 20%. So 20 plus 20 plus 10, 50. So in case of 50 or more, right? They said not less than 50. So 50 or more, obviously it will be considered as Indian company. So full chapter is applicable for them, right? Whether Beauty Cosmetics shall be deemed to be a foreign company or an Indian company for the business carried out, Indian company, right? And for them, is the entire Companies Act applicable? Yes. B. Next, Mithali Diamonds Limited is a company engaged in business of what? Cutting, polishing and trading of diamonds. What they want to do? They do exports of diamonds to USA. Okay, great. For the last 5 years, the foreign exchange earned by the company in exporting the diamond are as under. Now, what they want to do, the company wants to give donation of $10,000 to an institution situated in USA, which provides technical support. Donation you can give, absolutely no issues. But if you have to give donation, now you have to check whether approval is required or not required, right? If approval is not required, if the donation that you are giving is equal to or 1% of last 3 years forex earnings. What is the last 3 year forex earnings? 125, 110 and 95. How much it is? 125 plus 110 plus 95. You do 3,30,000. You get 3,30,000 into 1% is what? $3,300. Up to this, no approval. Since you want to give 10,000, approval is required, right? So more than 1% of forex earned in previous 3 years or $50 lakh, whichever is lower, approval is required, right? And this is more than 1%, definitely approval is required. So this is your description part. This is your description part of your law CA Inter paper number 2, corporate and other laws. Thank you and all the very best for your other exams. Do well. Hope to see you soon.